Hey y'all, it's Dan back again with another late night video. I want to thank Kathy for providing me with some links and some information here. This video is going to be about Philando Castile, his uncle, George Floyd, the bystander, the teenage bystander who made the video that went viral, and the girlfriend of George Floyd, who I managed to find, and Governor Tim Walz. So, a lot to go over here. First of all, I want to talk about Philando Castile's uncle on bridging the gap between the public and the police. So, in 2016, his nephew Philando Castile was pulled over while driving in a suburb of St. Paul, Minnesota. The officer asked to see his license and registration, and he was reaching for them when the officer shot him 5 times. So Castile says it's very painful to see another black man killed at the hands of the police for basically doing nothing worthy of dying for. So in the 4 years since the shooting, the Castile family has been working to reduce the use of deadly force by police. Clarence even joined the St. Paul Police Department as a reserve officer to help improve relations between law enforcement and the public. So I looked him up, or rather, Kathy helped me, and this picture is from his Facebook page, Clarence D. Castile. Notice the Masonic uniform he's wearing, the white gloves, the collar. This guy's a Freemason. And he appeared, so I was looking at his page a little bit, and he says that he's appearing in this video. Speaks at the 57-second mark around. Tim Walz's forum or something. Community leaders from KSTP. KSTP 42. Of course, he's going to be on that. Right? So let's give a listen to here and we can break down what he's saying. Notice before he gets up there, it's 65 degrees here. 65. Why is that number interesting? Because George Floyd, is 65. We're in a time of a pandemic. 65 as well, right? And he's Philando Castile's uncle, 222 and 87, kind of like Order Out of Chaos. That's what's happening here. All this chaos, if you spell it right. Order Out of Chaos. So let's listen to this.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Clarence Castile. I am the uncle of Philando Castile and the director of the Philando Castile Relief Foundation.
Interesting, the guy with the mask on is right above the thing that says live or evil backwards. So here he is, the Freemason, up there wearing green. Green in Jewish gematria equals 137. He's wearing a green sweatshirt. Green in the Jewish cipher equals 137. He's wearing green. Just thought I'd point that out to you.
A wise man once said that protest and riot are the voices of the unheard.
Protest and riot are the voices of the unheard. Protest Voices of the Unheard. Look at that. So 188, like Bavarian Illuminati, right? 577, the 106th prime, a number of prophecy. He started his speech at 106. 449, 87th prime, like order out of chaos, like so-and-so's father. What's his name? Philando Castile's uncle. 87, right? This is also 87. He said a wise man. All right, let's go back to this.
I have two examples of the unheard. One is Philando Castile. When he was pulled over by that St. Anthony police officer, the officer told him to give him his license and insurance. And as he was reaching for his driver's license, the officer said, "Don't reach for it."
So he says, don't reach for it. Don't reach for it. Before I go any further, look at protest and Negro. When you spell it correctly, protest 32 and 76. Kind of like Negro 32 and 76. All right. So he said, don't reach for it. Look at that. More order out of chaos numbers here. 75, 222, and 78. Order out of chaos.
Philando said, "I'm not reaching." The officer said again, "Don't reach for it." Philando said, "I'm not reaching."
I'm not reaching. What's that? I am not reaching. Words are important. Look at I am not reaching. 137 and 74 and 79, like murder. The color he's wearing, green. I am not reaching. And that's interesting because Philando, if I could spell his name correctly, equals 137. Funny that he should say I'm not reaching also equals 79. Right? So let's watch a little bit more of this.
And the officer fired 7 times. The officer never heard him say, "I'm not reaching."
So he said 7 times. Notice the time changed to 107 or 17, the 7th prime.
Another example is George Floyd. George Floyd laid on the ground with an officer's knee in his neck. And that young man said, "I can't breathe."
All right, I can't breathe. Very popular thing to say. I can't breathe. Also 74, 106. 106 and 52 numbers of prophecy. And 74, we were just talking about that number in relation to, he said, I am not reaching. Can't breathe. I am not reaching. Both 74. Also 218, that death number. Let's go back to this.
He said, "I can't breathe." And the officer continued to have and apply pressure to his neck. George Floyd died because the officer did not hear him say, "I can't breathe."
Now, his contention is that the officer didn't hear him. Isn't that interesting?
Riot and protest is needed sometime.
So he's talking about riot and protest. Riot 26, right? Floyd was 46 years old. Look at Floyd and Riot. 62 and 26, just like Riot. Saying riot and protest. 68. Curfew is going to be from 8 to 6, I think. I'll show you why that's interesting later on.
So that our state authorities, communities know what we're trying to say. Those victims who lose their lives because somebody doesn't hear them, it has to be said by someone else in a different way, a more stronger and a more powerful way. And that's through protesting and riots. It's not a good thing. We don't condone looting, burning.
Protest and riots. Maybe that's what he said. Protest and riots. 213, like that death number, also 93, which is a big number in this decode because this happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which equals 93. That number with black people, Malcolm X, equals 93. Also Martin Luther King Jr. Without the X, it's 93 as well, right? 93, that number of Saturn. Also a propaganda. So let's get back to this.
Pillaging, things of that nature, which destroy communities.
So he said we don't condone looting and pillaging. He belongs to the Masons, right? Looting, 38, of course, and 30. Look at these murder numbers. Murder, death number, looting and killing, looting and pillaging. 99, like racism. Important number in this study, 99. 99, I'll be getting to 99 later on as well.
We have to rebuild our community now. And all of these people out here, the young people who come to these, who's going and participating, looking at these riots, being a part of it, the looting and things like that, you have to know who you're with and who's doing these things, who's opening these doors. We can't be a part of that.
You can't be a part of that. And then he pauses. We can't be a part of that. Right? 73, like Mason, also sacrifice. 199, the 46th prime, like sacrifice. 107, like ritual sacrifice. We can't be a part of that. Of the sacrifice. Also 314, like that number of pi.
It's a horrible thing to lose family members, people that we know and love through this type of violence. But we want to respond, and we need the help of our authorities, our legislators, our DAs to hold people accountable.
So this just flashed on the screen, right? This year before. State and community leaders address riots. State and the ampersand. Community leaders address riots. For like the Jesuits, the Jesuit order, right? Jesuit order, seemingly got their fingerprints on a lot of things that are happening. Also Freemasonic 189. The Jesuit order. Or the Jesuits. Jesuit order? Jesuit order. 144 and 54. Also 63, like racism.
For the things that they do. And when we don't get answers right away, we tend to respond in more negative ways. We think it's the right thing to do, but sometimes we have bad responses. So today I'm here to say and remind everyone that the governor has invoked a curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m.
So curfew from 8 to 6. Of course, curfew equals 86. Curfew 86, right? 76 and 32 for Negroes. This is a curfew for Negroes. 76 and 32. Talked about those two numbers before, just like protest. 76 and 32.
And we should follow that curfew. On my way into work yesterday, I mean, it was very devastating. I was driving in from Minneapolis, and as I came down 280, overlooking Minneapolis again, I saw a plume of black smoke, and it just scared me. It did something to me because I had never seen anything so devastating to see so much smoke billowing from a building in South Minneapolis. And that was part of the riot. I believe it was the Target burning over on Lake Street. And that was something that I'd never seen and something that I do not want to see again. Last night, I got several phone calls from a company called Securitas, who does alarm monitoring for the city of Minneapolis. And
let's look at Securitas. We could analyze this to death, but just a couple more here. Securitas, 65 like George Floyd, like pandemic, right? 34 like murder. Do security.
A call from about a property at 30 West Lake Street, which is right around the corner from 31st and Nicollet, Blaisdell, and First.
30 West Lake Street. So 30, that number for the N-word. Right, N-word 30. 30 West Lake Street. 69 like Saturn. You just write it out the way he talks it. 257 like blood sacrifice. So let's get back to this.
Avenue, where all of the excitement was at last night. So I went down there this morning, and to see the aftermath of that, and it wasn't a good look. I mean, smoke everywhere and rub.
How come he's the only one wearing a mask? Interpreter's not wearing a mask. He's not wearing a mask. Person before him wasn't wearing a mask.
Buildings being torn down. But the beauty of the thing was that I saw was all the people that came out with brooms and shovels and things to clean up the neighborhood, all up and down Lake Street, probably from Hennepin all the way down to where Lake Street turns into Marshall. They were cleaning the neighborhood back up during the day, and then at nighttime the rioters and looters come back out again, and the way it's going to be, or the way it sounds, is that's not going to happen. It's not going to be as lackadaisical as it was last night, whereas they didn't enforce the curfew until late. But from what I'm understanding, that's going to happen right away. So please, young people, please stay at home tonight. Go out and...
Please stay at home. Please stay at home. Please stay at home. 59, right? Like Negro. Please stay at home tonight. 116, like African American. 118, like death.
Test before 8, but by 8 o'clock p.m. tonight, please go home because it may not be a good thing. It's bad enough to have the National Guard called in, but there are some words that somebody may call in the federal army or something to that effect, which could make things a little bit worse. Please adhere to the curfew. Thank you, and everyone, please be safe.
So those are his final words. Please be safe. Please be safe. Who's he talking to? Perhaps his fellow Freemason, or he's talking to, the N-word. Please be safe, 6042, just like the N-word. So then I wanted to look, because this was about Tim. Oh, wait, so notice when he leaves.
Thank you.
So he leaves at 1:02. We're just talking about the N-word. The N-word 1:02 leaves at an hour and 2 minutes into the program. That's when he left. He does come back to introduce the next guest, but is still within that 102 thing. So let's look at Governor Walz. Tim Walz, who's the governor, born April 6, 1964. He's 56. I don't know if you can see that. 56. Seeing that number a lot these days, right? So from his last birthday to when Floyd George was killed was 50 days. This is the 50th day of his age. And this is about America, because this thing is swept all over America. America is also 50. And it's also 7 weeks in one day, or 71, which is a number that's been written all over this as well. 71, like police brutality is 71. And it's also African American. It's also 71. African American. So very interesting there, Governor Walz. And if you look at the gematria of his name, let's do this first. So till his next birthday is going to be 317 days. 317 days, the 66th prime, right? If you look at the gematria of his name, Timothy James Walz, like Negro 76, also 220, like coronavirus pandemic. He's the governor at the time of the pandemic. Noticed a lot of these governors became governors in 2019, just in time for the pandemic. Tim Walz, 32, right? Like America, like Negro, and just Walz, 62, and 46, like sacrifice. Also, Floyd is 62, and he's 46 years old, right? So let's go to a little more of the decode here. So look at Clarence Castile and Freemasonry. Pretty good match. 58, 67, 95, and the reflection 59. Certainly involved with Freemasonry. I showed you the picture. Well, there's a better picture of him with all the regalia on. He's the same guy who spoke. He's a leader in the community. And the interesting thing about it, he belongs to this place on 310 East 38th Street, which might prove familiar to people because this is right around the corner from where George, what's his name? George Floyd got ritually murdered. Not far from the ritual. If you write out the entire address, it equals 163. And that's interesting because 163 is the 38th prime, right? This happened in Minnesota, 38. Death, of course, 38. Murder, 38. Remember I was talking about the 317? Well, 38th Street in Chicago equals 317, right? And this was the amount of till, what's his name's next birthday? Tim Walz' next birthday is 317 days. When it'll be 57. So that's interesting. 38th Street in Chicago. There's also 191. 191, like the Society of Jesus. It's also the 43rd prime number. And it relates to George Floyd. George Floyd, 43. 38th Street in Chicago, also 101. Kind of like 101, the 26th prime, as we know. And Floyd equals 26, as I mentioned earlier. So, this is roughly the two deaths. Philando Castile, when he died in 2016 on Fry Street and La Arpentour Avenue West. And this is where, what's his name? George Floyd. 17 minutes apart. That kill number, Mason 17, 8.4 miles. Right? Jesuit, 884. Masonry, 84. And the Lodge is close by. Seems to happen a lot. So if you just say 759 Chicago Avenue, that equals 73. And here's the shooting of Philando Castile. I'll get to that. Notice on the 93rd Meridian West, right? Like Minneapolis, Minnesota, like propaganda. And it happened on Falcon Heights, which is 73 as well. A little bit of a... So here's the one who took this unbelievable video. Diamond Reynolds equals 73. And this is where it happened, at Larpenteur Avenue and Fry Street, 137. Like Philando. That's where he got killed. And he died at this hospital, and Floyd was en route to this hospital. The Hennepin County Medical Center, also 137. 137, of course, the 33rd prime, which relates to Castile, 33. Diamond, his girlfriend, supposedly, 33. And if you've seen that video, I watched it again. It's just like, goodness gracious, how can you be live streaming? And how can the cop not know you're live streaming? And how can you be so calm while it's all happening? So it's also equals 403. Kind of like 43, like Philando, George Floyd 43, Masonic 43, Floyd, Masonic 43, also killing 43. Philando's also 79. What a name, Philando. Also 38. And interestingly enough, the wrongful death lawsuit against the city brought by Reynolds and Castile's family was settled for $3.8 million. They only got $3.8 million. That's how much a life is worth. Philando equals 38. Murder, death, killing, 38. All right. Murder, 79, 38. That's why they got 3.8 million. His name also equals 148. And that's interesting because the N word in Jewish equals 148. They treated him like. Definitely a blood sacrifice. 67, 76, 257, and 86. Pretty good match. And a blood sacrifice and a ritual sacrifice at Falcon Heights, Minnesota. 154, 73, 82, right? 251, 107 or 17, and 71, the reflection of 17. Talking about 71 before, African American, police brutality, 71. So the video is 3 minutes and 53 seconds, where she live streamed the whole event. Speaking of 71, 353, the 71st prime, right? Like where it happened. Police brutality, 71. African American, 71. You can find the video here if you want to see it. It happened on 7/6/2016, which was the 178th day of the year. George Floyd equals 178. Kabbalah equals 178 as well. George Floyd 178. And typically, July 6th is the 187th day of the year. Although that year was the 188th, like the Bavarian Illuminati. 187, Section 187, the California Penal Code defines the crime of murder. The number is commonly pronounced by reading the digits separately as 187 or 187. So 187. Also, number of Society of Jesus. Section 187 equals 47, if you write that out. 187 equals 74, the reflection thereof. Also killing 74. And then look at 187, 76, and 59. Where have you seen those numbers before? Negro, 59 and 76. That's who primarily gets the brunt of the 187. It also equals 148, just like the N-word equals 148. Just like, so if you write out 187, it equals 83, like murder. Murder 83. So July 6th will be the 4th anniversary of Castile's death. So it happened 42 years from Floyd George's death. 42 days, I mean. And 4 years. 42 days. Alright, getting back to this word again. The N-word, 42. So let's move on to George Floyd a little bit. Darnella Frazier, the 17-year-old Minneapolis resident who recorded the killing of George Floyd by police officer Derek Chauvin. So Frazier's video showcased the explicit brutality of Floyd's death, with Chauvin holding his knee against the victim's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So 8 minutes and 46 seconds is 526 seconds. It went viral on 5/26. Right, 8 minutes, 60 seconds. 8 times 60 is 480. Plus 46, 526. It went viral on the 26th. If you write it out, what they're saying, it equals 258. And that's interesting because that's the number of the beast, 258. So let's look at Darnella Frazier. Who is the teen who recorded George Floyd's death? All right, making money for Listerine, it looks like. She's 17 years old. Kill number 17. God 17. So if you write out 8 minutes 46 seconds, it equals 148. Just talk about that number. The N-word 148. Happened on a day with 30 numerology. The N-word also 30. And the headline asks, who is the teen who recorded George Floyd's death? That equals 211. That's interesting because 211, the 47th prime number. Frazier equals 47. And here she is with 47 likes on Instagram. Her name equals 255. Kind of like the day that Mr. Floyd died. 25/5, most of the world would say, or 525. Her name equals 255. Her name also equals 93. Been talking about this number a lot. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr. 93. Saturn, Propaganda, Minneapolis, Minnesota 93. Justice for George 93. Also look at Justice for George and Order Out of Chaos. That's what we got going on here. 183, right? 84, 87, and 78, the reflection thereof. Justice for George. So they have a GoFundMe page for her. Look at that. Peace and Healing for Darnella. $65,327. Latest though is 73,000. We were talking about that number before, right? Floyd equals 73. Goal is 75,000, like Order Out of Chaos, like New World Order. It's put together by Micah Cole Kamensky and Angela Shelby. So the headline, Peace and Healing for Darnella equals 211. Where have we seen that number? What about the headline? Who was the teen who recorded George Floyd's death? Also 211. Right? Sonic, I think in Jewish equals 211. Or is it Mason? Mason 211. So we're talking about 211. Right? Also Floyd 73. Just like Mason. Sure he's a Mason. Sonic Ritual. Frazier also 47. Did I get into that? I think I did. I'm repeating myself. So she's a minor, so the money would go to her mom. Her mom's name, Latange Gillespie. 163. 163. 38th prime. Like murder. Like death, like killing. Her first name also 33. And it's about racism, really. 63 and 99. Remember the 99 I was talking about before? Fund was organized by her. Micah Cole Kamensky 99. It's like racism. Her name also equals 63. Just like racism. Also equals 38. Murder, death, killing. And connected to who she's setting up the page for. Alright. So here's the shrine at East 38th Street. Kamensky equals 83 like murder. And then I saw this. Free barbecue. 38th in Chicago. Eat for free. 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Or 38. More 38. So Frazier is friends with this woman, a former girlfriend of Floyd, apparently. Pictures of Floyd and, his girlfriend. Christina Unique Dawson, who writes, "Barely killed my love. Notice it updated at 8/10/81 like ritual. I don't even know what to do, y'all. This is not real." You said it. And all I can think of is if I would have seen that video, he would have just been another black dead body in the hospital. So one of her friends even says, "How do you know this? His GF." No response. So there's 353 comments. 353 comments. We've just been talking about that number. But again, 71st prime. That video of Philando Castile is 3 minutes and 53 seconds. Police brutality 71. African American 71. Look at Christina Unique Dawson 303. Minneapolis, Minnesota 303. Kind of like 33. And then here's some pictures of her with her love. Apparently that's the guy. And here he is again. Notice 526 likes or loves or whatever. One comment, 16 shares, like African American, like 8 minutes and 46 seconds is 526 seconds. Alright. On the 26th, it went viral. 526 likes, 526 seconds. Notice the 333, the birth, the resurrection, the death. George Floyd. You can see his Baphomet. It's like a Baphomet tattoo right there. I don't know if you can see that. Down with Baphomet, that's for sure. Here is another picture of him on his phone. 350 likes. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 350. So there's another picture too. Perhaps they're naked. Who knows? Who cares? And her name equals 102. Seen that number before. The N-word 102. Alright. And let's get back to Frazier for a minute. So unfortunately for Frazier, what's her name? The woman who videotaped this, they have relocated from their home in South Minneapolis due to the attention she's been receiving from strangers, and she is currently undergoing therapy to cope with what she has witnessed. Notice therapy is 93. It's also 33. South Minneapolis, 93. Darnella, Frazier, 93. Right. Notice Darnella's 50 like America, Frazier 43 like George Floyd. Just notice that. Frazier 43, 83 like murder. right? George Floyd, the same cipher, also 43. Gotta click on it. George Floyd and Frazier, both the same 43 in the same cipher. So Darnella 93, and then Order Out of Chaos keeps popping up. 75, just like South Minneapolis, also 222. 78 and 87, the reflection thereof. Also number of the beast numbers here, 75 and 87. So that'll do it. It's been a rather long video. I want to thank Kathy again for supplying me with some of this information. There's other stuff that she mentioned, but that's another video. So, just another numerical coincidence, really, between Philando Castile, his shooting, his uncle, Governor Tim Walz, Darnella Frazier, and her friend Christine Unique Dawson, Christina. That's another 47. We want another 47. Christina, 47. Just another numerical coincidence, I guess. All right, thanks so much. I'm gonna get some sleep. Good night, everybody.